Good morning to all of you, and it's a privilege to be here. I think if we think about empowerment, we will take all of these avenues that we've just listened to, the student, the teacher, the district, the superintendent, and if we do things well and weave all of those aspects together, we will figure out that empowerment is hard to tell where it starts with the student and ends in that supervisor's role. So let us take a few minutes this morning to think about the excellent work that we, the educators in Tennessee, have done thus far and what we can do to continue on that course of excellence during the coming years through empowerment, our first strand. We need to pause for a moment and think about the great work that we have achieved over the years. Then we need to determine ways to guide and guard what we have done and push those things that need to rise to the top into the future. I want to talk about three things this morning that will help push us toward empowerment. First, we have to foster a positive message for teaching and learning in every classroom. How many of you would like to have Kathy as your teacher in every classroom in your district? Students and teachers can't be empowered when surroundings are not positive. Second, I believe we must raise the quality of teaching and learning so that students will reach and exceed the benchmark of 21 on ACT. I believe we must determine incremental steps and stay focused on meeting each one of those steps. Third, the schools and districts must empower teachers through collaboration to focus on preparing students for the future and how to move them closer to their post-high school goals. If we are going to move our students toward the goal of moving to the top half of the states in academic performance, we need to understand what that looks like so we can get our goals in order and choose our path for success. We will look at a few things this morning that will point us in the direction of rigor, higher levels of understanding, pushing towards depth of knowledge, and using empowerment to accomplish all of these goals. If you look at all the people that are in this room, we have all been empowered by someone. We just hope that we can empower more from our position, whatever that may be. So the message of power seems to come from positive empowerment. This will keep us thinking about ways that we can do things better or differently to increase our trajectory towards student goals during this year and the years to come. We need to empower our teachers with the tools they need in order to improve their craft. I think we've listened to that early this morning. And we need to inspire learning in our students. I believe the most important of those resources are a clear focus, content knowledge, understanding children, and always being positive as we think about those. These resources are priceless, yet they cost nothing, and they should thrive in the hearts of every educator. If we stress those resources, we can create a safety net for beginning and experienced teachers so they are able to adopt the strategies that mirror the great work that has been done in our schools and build on that foundation. We administrators must be in classrooms often enough to take the pulse of every classroom in order to recognize where strengths and challenges are. As soon as we see evidence of a struggle, we need to turn it into a productive struggle, just like we would if we were teaching students for their understanding. All of us in the room are educators trained by various institutions in content and in leadership skills. We need to use all of our available insights and educational practices to push ourselves to meet the goals that Tennessee has set for educators and students by 2020. I believe that the answers lie in the hearts and minds of all of us in this room. But I believe empowerment must be part of every answer that we have. To reach our goals, we know from our years in the classroom that we would look where we are on day 1 and project our path to where we need to be on day 180. We have learned so much through these last years of standards and testing that we should and are able to tell whether or not content standards have been met. Because of our past training, we are all able to move the bar a little just by looking in a greater depth in our students' thought process and their responses and teaching them how to think about the answer. Then we want to make sure that we push our teachers and students through academic feedback and empowerment through positive resources in our school classrooms. At Covington High School, this is how it looked. We met in our PLCs, mapped out what we needed to do over the next year, organized it in a fashion that made the most sense to all of the teachers. Not to me. I was not the content specialist. They were. They mapped that out with the help of the administrator, but not done by the administrator. They came up with the best organizational scheme, and then they set the best teaching strategies that would help for teaching each one of those standards. There were always great conversations about how it should look, a lot of give and take, a lot of pushback, but we all left feeling empowered because we all participated in the end result through that collaborative process. If we continue using this age-old strategy of encouragement, empowerment, and development of all of our teachers' craft through the act of collaboration, we will find our students where they need to be in 2020. Isn't that what great educators do? The first place I really saw this manifest itself was in the math department at Covington High School. We began our years of change with a very dismal outlook as far as our test data revealed. But we started with a willing few, and I do mean few, who had the same vision as mine and were willing to work with me to provide solutions for our teachers and students. The math department had some phenomenal teachers, kind of sound and remind me of Kathy, that wanted success for themselves, but they wanted it for their students as well. So we began meeting, analyzing the material and the resources, pre-testing, post-testing, pre-testing, post-testing. Before we had the word formative, we just pre-tested and post-tested. Analyzing over and over, meeting in the hallways, trying to figure out what went wrong, what went right. Developing a desire in the students to be successful, sharing what worked for them, inviting others to come and observe. That was very, very difficult. They wanted us to come in and critique so that they could learn. Now that is a phenomenal teacher. They were the most transformed teachers by the end of that semester and year, and the students were the product of their transformation. Then, of course, as you might guess, the English department came on board. They were not going to let the math department outdo them. And they wanted what they saw in their fellow educators. They saw that they were fired up. They saw the connections between the students and the teachers. And the English department wanted that as well. With educators who are coached like this, we will be able to empower every student. We have all seen classrooms that are phenomenal examples of how students work for a teacher just because of the positive atmosphere that's been developed. These are the classrooms where our students are in safe learning environments and are able to develop curiosity, questioning, and understanding of their way of learning. These are the classrooms we send our struggling teachers to visit and collaborate about how to make adjustments in their rooms. We must empower the teachers every day so that they can empower the students, even when it's difficult. But isn't that what great educators do? Tennessee's goal of raising ACT average to 21 is very near and dear to my heart as a former high school administrator. When I began my tenure at Covington High School, I had to temper my vision of success with realistic incremental goal setting. I knew that success in my mind was to improve ACT, but I had to tackle Algebra 1 first. I couldn't move to the end before I set the foundation. We had to figure out the steps it took to get to our goals. And I think the same thing is true in our state's goal. We have to figure out the incremental steps to make it to 21. To a high school educator, there's nothing more important than meeting or exceeding the goal for ACT. Students who meet this goal can access their future plans with many more scholarship dollars than those who do not. The ACT score is the ultimate determining factor for admission and placement in majors when entering college. And the university admissions officers use it to judge their academic preparedness. So reaching this goal is critical to all students in every classroom in Tennessee. We need realistic foundational step-by-step goal setting so that we can teach our students how to reach the goal, not just set a goal. The goals are great, but how are we going to get there? True empowerment means teaching teachers how to get to the goal. We can't mandate. Those days have come and gone. We must teach them how to get there. Principals are key to this solution by utilizing collaboration time to help in each of the subtest areas. I believe our first step is to be confident in the content being tested. We may have to shore up our teachers in positive ways so that they're able to do the same for their students. We must be able to collaborate with content groups and increase our understanding and then work on the best practices to teach what we have learned. We can empower our ACT teachers by utilizing common planning time to take a deep dive into the actual test. At Covington High School, the English and math teachers have come together in their departments with an assistant principal leading the charge to map out those ACT goals. Then they assigned each college readiness standard to an English and a math class. With this strategy, our teachers have been given specific standards for which they are responsible. And so students begin seeing those standards in the 9th grade instead of waiting until the year of the test. Each building needs a leader willing to tackle the ACT goals. They are not easy. Like any other building initiative, we use what resources we have at our disposal. Our district is utilizing several print resources, an online avenue, as well as an online benchmarking tool. These tools will help, but we need to utilize a collaborative effort if we are going to empower our teachers. Handing over resources without teaching them how to use them effectively and efficiently will be counterproductive. Most of our teachers just need a starting point, some collaborative guidance, and guided goal setting in order to feel that sense of empowerment. We need to invest time in developing our teachers' strengths so that it can spill over into the classrooms in the form of confidently taught college readiness standards. Just like a school needs every teacher to be successful, the state needs every high school in order to reach their goals and be successful. Teachers have incredibly difficult responsibilities, yet those responsibilities yield such amazing results. With a great teacher in every Tennessee classroom, all things are possible for all children. So how do we remedy all of these things that need to be met? Collaboration among teachers is part of the answer, but that collaboration must be led by skillful leaders. The end result of coaching and guiding teachers is what needs to take place. In the case of ACT, success is a college tuition that is paid, beginning a learning a career that students have only dreamed about in the past, or being the first college-bound child in one's family. Any way you frame it, empowering teachers and students to meet success on ACT is powerful. Isn't that what great educators do? The third goal set by the state is to have more than half of our students to attain some form of post-secondary certification or degree. I'm anxious to be in education when the goal is 100%. My final thought is about how to meet these goals by participating in collaboration between schools, districts, and secondary institutions. To meet this goal, we must focus on the future. There are several strategies that we are using in our district to help to meet this goal. We have developed partnerships with our local TCAT and our community college to encourage our students to find the path they want to follow and connect with their most important post-secondary institution. When we try to fit those goals into a post-secondary certificate or degree program, then we can start to weave high school into college and college into future success. We need to have the goal of promoting and encouraging and developing a career mindset in our students so they can sift through the options and determine the best choice for them. Just as we guide our students to see success in academics, it is equally important for us to be sure we develop the idea that students are not graduating from high school. They are graduating to a post-secondary placement that ensures them and their families a better future. Isn't that what great leaders do? In closing, all of these ideas seem to rest on the shoulders of competent, dedicated, hardworking educators. Through encouragement and a positive culture, using content study sessions, positive encouragement, and leveraging strengths, we will empower our teachers to meet the goals we have set before them. By raising the quality of teaching and learning in every classroom, setting incremental steps to meet and exceed personal goals for students, and providing meaningful feedback to serve our teachers and students, we will meet or exceed the ACT goal of 21. In order to be successful, we must be ready with positive ideas, words of encouragement, and raise the quality of teaching in every class that we observe. If we serve them well, that is the students and the teachers, they will be empowered to meet the goals set before them, and the result will be a better Tennessee for all of us. And isn't that what great Tennessee educators are all about? I hope that you will empower many, many people this year, from students to fellow leaders. Thank you.